You don't need to keep up with the trends to have a beautiful home. You need pieces that tell your story. You don't need to have a perfect home. You don't need to have what everyone else has. You're going to create a timeless home that works perfect for you. So we're just going to hop right into this. I think it's only appropriate we start in the kitchen because to me, the kitchen is the heart of the home. And what better place to display sentimental items than in your kitchen? I actually have multiple sentimental things here in my kitchen. I want to talk to you about different ways to display them. And then we're going to talk a little bit about rotating. So stay tuned for that part. So for me right here, you guys have seen this. This is super sentimental to me. This is a fantastic way to display those meaningful recipes from grandma, maybe your parents, an aunt, an uncle, something that's really timeless to you. Why does it need to be shoved in a cabinet where no one ever sees it? If it really means something to you, let's find a pretty way to display it. I'm going to give you a couple different options that I've done here in my kitchen. So one, as you can see, I put my mom's peanut butter cookie recipe in this really just kind of old rustic looking wooden frame. And it always sits over behind my sink. And it's just a fun reminder. I love seeing her handwriting. And then another way that you can do it is, let me show you over here. Right here on my wall, I have hung in my kitchen 2 meaningful recipes to our family. Another one by my mom and then one by Jason's mom. These are tried and true and beloved. And I just think it's a really great way to honor them and have them hanging for all to see. Because let's think about it. Let's put our timeless pieces where memories are made. And we all know memories are made in the kitchen. So let's let them live and be a part of it. Something that I will always cherish is that it is written in their own handwriting. And this is a fun gift that you can give to people also. Say, you have a beloved recipe written in your grandma's handwriting. Just print it off. And I think it's really unique that I did it in the black and the white. So that one's the original that's over in the wood. These ones are printed off, and I just kind of tried to make them look timeless by matting them in the black and the white frames. They make really great Christmas gifts if you want to share the memories with your loved ones. One thing you're never going to hear from me is to not have family photos around. I think that family photos hanging in your home is the most classic, comforting thing that you can do for yourself. Because if your family brings you joy, then what's better than looking at them often? I think that curating a timeless home with family photos is one of the #1 most important things that you can do. When you display your family photos, it tells your story. That is what is meaningful to you. You can do it in a lovely way to where it does not feel cluttered and to where it also feels like you're honoring those memories that you've made with your family. As I've gotten older, I really value the memories that I've made. And looking back on timeless photos is just something that I don't know about you guys, but it's one of my favorite things and it brings me joy. So this might be a weird angle. I'm down here on the floor below my TV that's in the living room. But I want to talk about books. Books is such a timeless way to decorate. But more than that, sentimental books. And sentimental, I do want to tell you guys, doesn't always mean that it's from the past. You can have your own things that mean something to you. It didn't have to be passed down, from generation to generation. We all have our own sentimental items. But think about it. There are books in our lives, for the majority of us, that shape who we are, who remind us of an era of our life. We just love those books. We read them over and over. They deserve a place of honor in your home. And they just, like I said, make really great, classic, timeless decorating. So take the books that you love, use them as decor, and then you know what those books mean to you. I love these books. I think they're absolutely beautiful. This is the entire Jane Austen collection. It needed a spot in my home where it said always. And then, does it get any better that my favorite books are squeezed in between my little dachshund bookends? How timeless is that? For me, nothing but joy right here. Plus, we all know how cute books are to decorate with. There's so many options you can do. If you ever need a riser or anything like that, a little extra something on a coffee table, end table, right there, use one of your timeless sentimental books and you will have the most cozy home. Be sure to hit the like button on this video, and what I would love for you to do is down in the comments, please tell all of us how you like to display your timeless pieces, your sentimental pieces, or share with us a sentimental piece that you love that just means something to you. I love reading. I read through all of your guys' comments. They mean so much. So thank you. All this talk about sentimental and timeless makes me think about how at the beginning of this year, I thought about how I wanted to not reinvent myself, how I really wanted to get to know myself, who I really am. My therapist from today's sponsor, BetterHelp, was so fantastic with giving me the tools that I need to discover who I really am and what that means to me and how that affects my daily life. I feel like all of us, every single one of us, is going through something. And when you're going through something, figuring out how to come out on the other side really should be a goal for everyone. And that is for me. Because taking care of Jason with his early onset dementia makes me realize that I have to take care of myself too. I can't take care of him well if I'm not taking care of myself well. I'm really thankful to my therapist at BetterHelp for helping me to realize that. She gives me tools. She gives me little exercises to do. She gives me a different way of thinking about things. When you get that outside perspective, it's a game changer. I think a lot of times people get intimidated about going to therapy, but going to therapy online in the comfort of your own home, best thing ever. You go online, you fill out a questionnaire. It'll match you with a therapist within a few days. And here's the best part. If you and your therapist don't vibe, it's no big deal. You can switch. It doesn't cost anything else. They want you to have the therapist that works best for you. I want nothing more than to help you. And I think that you should head over to betterhelp.com/charmingabode. I'm going to leave a link down in the description box. I will let you know that if you use the link, you can get 10% off your first month of therapy. Something we all know, therapy is not a quick fix, but with that steady growth that you will have, you will get that lasting support that you will need for a lifetime. And thank you, BetterHelp, for sponsoring today's video. One of the things that I think that people think of when they think of memories and timeless things is maybe you have wedding photos or anniversary photos that mean something to you. One of the things I suggest is that you do it in just a very subtle way, not like a shrine. So I personally was looking around when I was making this video, and I don't even have a wedding photo setting anywhere. I have pictures from my girls' wedding setting here. And then I keep a picture of my mom and dad, and it's just this little trio that sits on my dresser and has for forever. But I just realized, I was like, you know what? I don't have any pictures of Jason and I from our wedding. We didn't get like quality photos, so I don't really have anything. I have one photo that's halfway decent. But this year, are you guys ready for this? It is Jason and I's 35th wedding anniversary. Now, I did convince him back on our 30th wedding anniversary to go get some photos taken. I don't know if I can get him to take photos this time now that his dementia has progressed, but I'm going to try and talk him into it. I'm really excited that we're here. We made it to 35 years. That's a big deal for two kids who got married at 17 years old. So a really good suggestion if you want to keep things and you don't, like I said, let's not make a shrine. You could even frame your invitation. Of course, you can press your flowers. I think it's really awesome to have a wedding photo somewhere in your home. I mean, that was supposed to be one of the happiest times of your life. So I'm like, I should probably take my own advice and get a photo somewhere. But I think I'll go and I'll get the 35th wedding anniversary photo done, and I'll put that out. So that'll bring me some joy. One of the rules for timeless decorating is we're going to rotate, not eliminate. Something you need to remember, just because it's stored away doesn't mean it's unloved. We're going to do something that I think is a really great idea. I'm sure you guys are just like me and you have a lot of beloved items that are just stored away, and I have memory bins. I think a fun way is we're going to rotate those items out, and that can also eliminate some guilt you have about just shoving things away that you feel like, should maybe be on display, but yet where do I put that? So let's rotate them in and out. What if like once a month or once a season, you take something from your memory bin and you switch it? Maybe it's going to be like an old memento from a family member. Maybe it's something that it was your husband's, that was his prized possession. You could make a memory shelf. That would be so fun. This almost makes me think of a hobby. You could have such a good time with this, where every month you curate a little vignette. And wow, I'm giving myself some really fun ideas. I'm going to have to take my own advice. I was been cleaning out my storage area downstairs, and I found so many cool things that I'm like, I think I'm going to do this now. But let's remember, we need to keep it simplified and keep room to breathe. We don't need this to be cluttery. There is something so sentimental about paper. I feel like everything is saved digitally now, the majority of our photos, but paper is so sentimental. So we're gonna lean into that when it comes to decorating and that type of thing. And this is gonna be a little bit twofold. One, I highly recommend that you get one of these legacy books. This one's Jason's. This says Grandpa's Story. And then I was too lazy to run upstairs and grab mine, but mine is almost the same way. And basically it's a book where you write your story, and it like has prompts, to tell you different things that you can write about, places to put photos. You can get these over off of Etsy. So this is just such a really timeless, sentimental way to, one, leave your legacy to pass it down to your grandkids so they know your whole story. I would love to know my grandparents' whole story. And then look how cute this is to decorate with. I mean, there's all kinds of styles. And then on top of that, we've all seen these little book boxes. These are like at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, and these are a really great way for storing paper. I thought this was really timeless and unique. So this sits in my office. It makes cute decor, plus it's sentimental to me. So keep these in mind. I feel like sometimes these get overlooked, but they have a lot of different styles that you can use for this. So paper is one of the number one most sentimental things. Think back to when we were talking in the kitchen about the recipes and the handwritten recipes on the paper. It's just the art of that is going away. So let's not let it go away. Do you have a piece of furniture that tells a story? Maybe it's an old chair. Maybe it's a dining room table. I think one of the cool things about furniture as sentimental pieces is they can be the anchor to the room. And something I bet you don't even think about, you might right now be creating that sentimental piece, that anchor piece. I'll let you know, I love this dining room table. I don't see me ever getting rid of it. I think this dining room table is classic. It's wood, it's rustic, it fits my style, and I can see it being handed down generation to generation. Yeah, I think the chairs might have to have some work done on them in the future. It's something that I think about. I don't think about that on a lot of my furniture because I'm one who gets all kinds of new sofas and different things like that. But this piece and this buffet is something that I think is super sentimental. So think about that. Don't think about the items always necessarily that you got. Maybe think about the ones that you might be wanting to make into a sentimental piece, an heirloom. It can really change the way you think about the things in your home and how you care for them, and passing that information on to your family. Maybe no one in the family is going to end up wanting it, and that's okay, because you should never have guilt if something that's sentimental to someone and they give it to you and it doesn't mean anything to you, you should never have that guilt about not wanting it. I always teach that when it comes to my decluttering videos. A lot of times, grandma has a lot of sentimental items and then she leaves them to you and they mean nothing to you. So the sad reality is you don't have to hang on to those. You only have to hang on to the pieces that you love. So keep that in mind. I absolutely adore this dining room set and I want it to be passed down or somehow continue on, but it might mean nothing to my family and they sell it, and that's okay. I think the biggest thing for me to remember is the dining room table isn't what's making the memories. Us sitting around the table is what's making the memories. So whether this ends up meaning anything to anyone, it's okay, because we already made a lasting lifetime of memories as a family sitting around and eating, and that's what's actually important. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video as much as I have. We will see you guys again next week. Bye-bye.